And with that, I introduce our next speaker, who happens to be one of the co-producers of this evening's event, Aaron Goldfeder. And Aaron's going to talk to us about, I think it says behind me already, tree hugging for capitalists. Aaron is with EnergySavvy.com.
Hey, everyone. That light is really bright, and this stage is really small. The flipper is right here. Excellent. My name is Aaron Goldfeder. I'm with EnergySavvy.com. First of all, thank you all for coming here. I'm unbelievably amazed at what's going on here tonight. Everyone's here because, wow, big challenges out there. No need to recap them all at this moment. But what I wanted to do tonight was share with you guys basically a personal story about what I've been up to over the last couple years. And I wanted to do that in the context of Energy Savvy and this company that we've been putting together. Before I go too far, how many, just to get to know you a little bit better, how many people here work like in the tech industry? So you build software and stuff. Okay, not a shock for Seattle, probably about a third. And how many people here work in the, let's say, green industry, whatever that means to you? So you do something every day where you feel like you're making a difference. That's great, so another third. And how many people here just need a job? Okay, so you first two, these are your next hires. Basically, over the last 2 years, what I've really been working to do, I have a traditional tech background. Been working in the tech industry for a number of years. And what I wanted to do, like a lot of you in here, wanted to get in a position where what I was working on every day, I felt like was making a difference around sustainability, that what I was pouring my heart and soul into, like at some point it's just not enough to drive a fuel-efficient car or walk to work or like carry your bags to the grocery store or whatever. So I really wanted to get into a space where I felt like I was making an impact. And so I want to talk about that in the context of how we got to the idea of what our company's focused on, what it's been like to build our company over the last year. Some of you noticed it's been a little bit of a rough year in the market. And talk just a little bit about what we do. We don't pitch here on the stage at Bloom, but I'll just give you a sense of what it is we're doing. So, quick disclaimer, I'm not here to give business advice. This is not a how to build a startup talk. When we're profitable, maybe we'll come back and we'll give advice, but right now we're just climbing up the hill. So here I am looking my Sunday business best, trying to seem credible for the About page on our website. And as most of my friends know, I have a little bit of a split personality, which isn't something you normally admit in front of a couple hundred people, but there it is. Part of me is a bit of a tree hugger, earnestly wants to make a difference and make the world a better place. But another part of me is this profit-seeking capitalist guy who likes to smoke cigars and drink champagne. And so what I've been preoccupied with over the last number of years is how is it that I could combine these things in a way that makes sense, where I could do something every day that makes a positive impact on society, but also could potentially make a lot of money. I'm just not a work at a nonprofit kind of guy. It's not me. So I did some research over the last couple of years. And in the spring of last year, I talked to guys like Rob Bernard, who's speaking right after me, and I listened to a couple of speeches called The Death of Environmentalism, The Birth of Blue by Adam Warbuck, who's here speaking with us tonight, who's opening the second set. And I can't say what a ridiculous situation it is that I'm actually here speaking with those guys. But I read their guys' stuff, and I talked to them, and I started to learn more about sustainability. But what was really the turning point was I came across this guy. How many people know who this is? Okay, so who is it? Okay, so it's Amory Lovins. And for those of you who don't know Amory Lovins, he's probably like the smartest guy in the world, times two. And when he talks a lot about energy, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. And he's got data and facts and figures, and frankly, most of it's way over my head. But what he talked about when I saw him speak was, that actually got through to me, was he talked about fuel costs and fuel availability. And what he talked about was basically, in the horizontal axis here we have cost, on the upper axis we have how much of it, and somewhere over here on the right is solar, and then there's wind, a little bit cheaper. But as much as we might like solar or wind, it's no more than a couple of percent of the overall fuel mix today. So lots of market share to take, I suppose. In between there, you have everyone's favorite fuel, nuclear, and then there is chopping down mountains and burning them, aka coal, which is very available and pretty cheap. Now, as some of you guys know, real energy wonks will debate these kinds of numbers till the cows come home. There's transmission cost and potential availability and actual availability and CO2, and there's a lot of ways to slice and dice these numbers. We could do this probably 15 different ways. But what's not under debate is the role of energy efficiency. And energy efficiency basically rocks because basically, you take buildings or homes, which are, say, 30 to 40% of the carbon footprint of our country. You make them more energy efficient by upgrading the lighting, appliances. You make the building more energy performant by managing the air pressure and insulation, all that. And something magic happens. Not only do you reduce the CO2 of that home, not only do you put money in people's pockets, but you also reduce the energy use, and you do all this at the same time. So profitable, reduce CO2, reduce energy use. What's not to love about energy efficiency? So Amory went on, and I was listening to this talk, and he went on and he basically said, look, it doesn't really matter if you're a tree hugger and you know it, or if you are a profit-seeking capitalist, or you're tired of sending $1 billion of oil wealth overseas every day, and you're a national security hawk. The answer for you is all the same. It's energy efficiency. So I heard this, and I was like, this rocks. My tree hugger lit up, my capitalist guy lit up, and I was stoked. So the next thing was, well, okay, need idea, need space. Is there actually a business here? And so I started to research this business, and I found out that everything I'm talking about had happened 30 years ago. And Jimmy Carter gets into the White House, and Jimmy Carter's like puts up these solar panels, and he's like, these solar panels will take us into the new clean energy future, or they'll end up in a museum. And Ronald Reagan moves in, takes down the solar panels, and you can go visit them in the museum. So, kind of sucks. So while the rest of the world basically got Microsoft and the personal computer and Netscape Navigator, Amazon, the Google, and now Twitter. Energy efficiency, in terms of our ability to understand it and make sense of it and do something about it, basically got the Wild West. In fact, today you can take your iPhone and take a picture of baby food and have it shipped to you in the same day. But until recently, you couldn't actually just type your zip code into the internet and say, hey, look, I want to make my home energy efficient. What are all the tax credits that apply to me? Who can I work with? How do I take advantage of this? And so our idea became, fix it. Right? We wanted to make energy efficiency simpler for people to understand. So now we had the idea, and we started to build out our company. And to build a company, you need basically three things, right? You need a little bit of cash, you need a team, and you need some customers. So we went off to build a team, and lo and behold, teamed up with Leo Shklovsky, who's our resident smart dev guy, met up with this gray-haired guy, Carl Siebrecht, who became our chairman, and then we hooked up with this smart MBA guy, Scott Case. And when you have a developer, a smart gray-haired guy, and a smart MBA dude, you basically can hit the road and start raising money, which became our next step. So everyone remembers what the market was like last year. There it is in all of its glory. So sometime around October, Sequoia, a leading venture firm, released its deck. Probably some of you have seen this deck. It was the Rest in Peace Venture Capitalism is Fucked deck. And we were basically like, okay, how about this is the perfect time to raise money? And I remember sitting in front of an investor who's actually in this room, whose name will go unmentioned, and I was like giving my pitch, and then he looked at me and he's like, Aaron, I really like this idea, but I just lost 30% of my net wealth, and so I'm not sure. But one way or another, we ended up piecing together a little bit of money, and we needed a customer. So our first customer was a nonprofit trade association that didn't pay us, and they were called Home Performance Washington. What Home Performance Washington does is organize home performance contractors that can make your homes more energy efficient. But they led us to a bigger trade association called Efficiency First, which does the same thing at a national level. And then lo and behold, we had our first paycheck, which was a very exciting moment. So with a little bit of cash and a little bit of a customer and a great team, we got started. And I want to just spend the last minute talking a little bit about what it is that we actually do. I'm happy to say we released our preview version of our website 2 weeks ago today, actually. So it's pretty exciting. And what we do is something, we have a lot of stuff planned, but what we do right now is a pretty simple thing. Number one is we explain basic home energy topics in really just simple, plain old English. So what is an energy audit? Should I get one? Answer being probably yes. How do I think, a lot of people say, I want to go solar. And it talks about, well, solar's great, but if you put solar in a leaky home, not such a good idea. It's like having a hybrid Hummer. And then the next thing we do is we took all the incentives and tax rebates that you have all heard about, and we went across to all the different utilities out there. We organized them by their location and their coverage area, and so we made it super easy. If you type in your zip code, we'll tell you exactly what utilities and tax rebates apply to you in your area, and try to make that super easy. And then the last thing we did was we married that experience with this network of home performance contractors that we've been part of in order to figure out how to go ahead and get work done. So it's just the beginning, lots more to come. And just as a parting thought, in terms of where it is we want to go, like any good startup, we want to see a hockey stick growth. But the thing that gets me out of bed every morning and the thing that gets us really excited to continue to climb this mountain of startup land is, not only do we want this to be our revenue, but every time we sell something, we're basically selling energy efficiency. And we want this to be our CO2 reduction at the same time and our energy reduction. And we want that to be also homeowner happiness and homeowner money savings. So thank you very much. Thank you for being part of it with me. And we're really excited to be here.